You are listening to episode 9 of the Underhook Show. My name is Steve, as always, alongside my co-host Chris, here to talk about the ongoings of weekly professional wrestling on television. This time, maybe just one promotion, but nothing wrong with that. Chris, how you doing on this Wednesday evening?
Doing a lot better, my friend. Doing a lot better.
Good to hear, my man. Good to hear. We are just coming off of the May 7th edition of AEW Dynamite from Detroit, Michigan. Another cool venue for them.
I love this venue.
And I think the room, like the crowd, like the size of the room and the layout of the room aided the crowd noise, because it was a lot of fun. At least that's how it came through across television. But I don't know about you, but I'm good to just hop in the TV.
Let's do it, brother.
Very good. So this episode kicked off with, it kicked off with Sum 41 doing the new theme song.
Which, when it kicked in, I looked and I was like, this is different.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, the first time they've went out of house for Dynamite. Obviously, they've done Elton John for Collision, but everything else, I believe, for Dynamite has been Mikey Ruckus with the in-house sound team. But this was cool. I think licensed music in wrestling, I feel like you either got to go with guitar music or hip-hop.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it always helps, and I think they want that,
When they used the Pointer Sisters that one time for Collision, I don't think it worked.
I forgot about that.
I did it.
So this show opened with a first-time interaction between Hangman and Ospreay ahead of their Owen Hart Foundation Tournament Cup final at Double or Nothing in a couple of weeks. I have one thing in my notes because I could not unsee it, but Ospreay's middle part was crazy.
Oh, yeah. Me and my friend were talking, like, we just did like a dub over real quick. He's like, what's he going to come out and say? And I was like, he's just going to come out and say, you should try the cut in the hair, bruv. Put it down the middle, bro. Because I couldn't stop looking at it either. But this promo made me want this match even more, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, they definitely had to sort of force the issue a little bit, given that this is a babyface versus babyface match. But I think that can work for a tournament final. And I think that they really want this to live up to that expectation. Because as I've said for weeks now, for especially the core AEW audience, this is a massive match. And I think they just want to capture that heading into it. I'm a soccer guy. I don't know about you, but there's a player for Manchester City named Jack Grealish. And it looked like Ospreay was moonlighting as him with the hair. So I just have my notes. Why is Jack Grealish out here cutting a promo? I like the segment overall. I think there was some inconsistencies to where we were kind of doing this. Hangman finally kind of addressing everything now that it's all behind him. But then Ospreay coming out here sort of doing the whole, Hangman lost his smile type thing. But aside from a certain involvement of one faction, overall I thought this was pretty good.
Like I said, it had to give me, I already want to see the match, but it had to have some meat and add a little bit of extra meat and potatoes behind it, and this promo kind of did it for me, because it's the first time they've ever interacted, and I was like, I'm kind of interested to see, and Ospreay came out like he should have. And Hangman didn't have to say anything. He just had to stay there and take it. But then Ospreay gets roped back into the Don Callis vortex, huh?
I'm just tired of it, man. It feels like it's been over a year now. And he was wrestling Roddy last year at Double or Nothing. Cool match, by the way. But I'm done with this, man. And I understand what they're doing. They need that stopgap with the TV special before the pay-per-view, which they would announce a match later that week, or later that night, excuse me. But yeah, I'm kind of like, I don't have necessarily an issue with the lineup in the Don Callis family. I'm just like, I've seen them all wrestle Ospreay multiple times now. Like Josh Alexander wrestled him already in TNA.
Takeshi just wrestled him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so it's like everybody else, it's like fine, but it's at the same time, we've seen this already for months and months and months on end. I'm ready for it to be done. Uh, Nonetheless, though, yeah, like I think they're going to do a good job or as good of a job as they can to make this tournament final feel like a massive deal, which they should.
Yeah, I feel like what's going to happen is going to be some fuckery where,
Some friendly fire.
yeah, that's what I was looking for. I couldn't get the words out. But yeah, then that's what's going to kind of lead into the match. And we see it all. It's wrestling 101, more or less.
Yeah, so for context, they announced later in the night. We can just get to it now.
Yeah.
At the Beach Break special from Hoffman Estates, it will be the team of Konosuke Takeshita and Josh Alexander taking on the two finalists of this tournament, being that Hangman and Ospreay must set their differences aside, and they're doing the can they coexist thing ahead of the final, but it's fine. That'll be like a fun like fireworks show.
Did it seem a little off to you at the end, or is it just me? Like someone stumbled over their word, or someone miscued something. I don't know because they had to repeat himself twice. Oh no, it's because they had to stop because they were chanting something about Callus. Never mind. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, they were heavy on the censor tonight with the crowd chants.
Okay, that's where I put. Never mind. That's where I meant. Because I was like, damn, did he stop? And then I was like, oh wait, no, they're censoring them for.
Yeah, they might have got it down there that hey, we got to go heavy on the censor. So
yeah, we're not Netflix.
Reiterate what you're saying with that one. Yeah, for sure. That went into not necessarily a promo train, but another segment here with some more intimidation of Tony Schiavone with FTR and Stoke. I did not watch Collision, so I did not have the prior context.
Go back and watch Collision. That's what I meant to tell you. I did watch Collision. Go back and watch Collision.
Yeah, I will. I want to watch tomorrow's too.
I'm definitely going to tune in tomorrow for sure.
Yeah. Yes, because there's some cool stuff announced there.
I will say, go back and watch at least, like, you're going to go, I know you as a wrestling fan, you'll probably watch it, but Alexander and Brody King, oh
yeah, I forgot that was, and then they did, I got to go back and watch the other Roddy and Kyle versus FTR matches. Yeah, I've been seeing good things.
Yeah, their match on Last Collision was good too on that one, so yeah, I definitely recommend it. Go back and check that out.
Yeah, I gotta get the full context of this FTR versus Garcia feud because this segment functioned to announce that tomorrow night or tonight, by the time you're hearing this, Garcia will be facing one of the members of FTR in a singles match, which I'm here for. I think both of them are really good singles workers, and I think you're gonna give Garcia somebody that can kind of meet him in the middle with his style. I think Garcia's a bit more, inclined with grappling, so to speak. But more importantly, you're giving Garcia like an actual heel to play off of because we lamented so much of his title reign. They were just putting him up against baby faces. Yeah, and I think to really get him out of this funk, you do need to put him against some opposition here. So I'm cool with that. I'm excited for that match. And then later in the show, I'll just skip ahead now.
Yeah.
They kind of brought back the Willow Stat animosity, which
I'm pumped for this one.
I'm really excited for the match. I don't know if they ever reiterated, kind of reignited this as a feud because they were making the save for each other a few weeks ago or maybe a couple months ago. So it seems weird for them to be
this isn't a feud situation. This is going to be I think this is what turns Willow,
get out of their system.
Yeah, gets Willow back to respect, her and Stat, because Stat's been trying to just bury the hatchet kind of thing.
Yeah, it was just so strange how
it came about. It was very convoluted how they got there.
Yeah, I mean, this goes all the way back to September where Stat and Willow had the awesome match at All Out, and then inexplicably dropped Stat's heel turn and her alliance with Stoke. Just no explanation whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, they retconned it, but now really didn't because Willow's bringing it up, and it's a bit of a mess. But I'm not gonna complain seeing these two wrestle, man. Like they
That's what I
are.
said. As long as Stat's on my TV, Stat and Willow are on my TV, I'm not complaining nothing, man. Like,
Yeah.
after meeting Willow, top 5 Willow guy right here now, like 100%.
Yeah,
Like,
Willow's the best, and
I've been actually watching her in Japan, like clips. I haven't really seen anything like.
she did like the Unagi Sayaka produce show.
She was on that Lucha Fiesta show I was watching with Hayabusa, so I did see her on there, so that was pretty dope. I didn't know anything about that, whatever company that was, Lucha Fiesta, whatever that was.
I want to say it's like sanctioned by CMLL, but it's not a CMLL show.
It was interesting, I'll give it that. I mean,
correct me if I'm wrong on that one, anyone listening, but yeah, she's done a couple of spots there already. She did a Tokyo Joshi Pro appearance.
She did like a Japan tour recently, and then she was just back home now.
She's been like going back and forth because she wrestled Miyu Watanabe in Japan.
Okay.
For TJPW, I want to say last month. So she's been globetrotting, which is good for her.
Yeah.
But excited for that match. And
they had to bring her back to set up for that Blood and Guts, though. So, or not Blood and Guts. Anarchy in the Arena.
Because I think if they just don't throw her and Marina in the match, which we'll get to when we talk about like the party match and stuff this week, but there's so many people kind of like in this bubble that you could really just do something stupid and like just have it be like a
schmaz
12-person, 14-person match. But I think at the very least you'll get a run-in between them because they still haven't blown that off. The closest we got into was the mixed tag before Dynasty. But we get to our first match here tonight. I kind of hate this whole idea here. Bear with me. I don't want to start off on such a negative.
I gotta let you take the reins of this one because I literally didn't know. I walked in on this match because I was getting food. I walked in and I didn't know what was going on. So, all yours, bud.
Entertain this thought for me for a sec.
Yes, of course.
The idea of an eliminator match is for somebody to step up, hang in with the champion, and earn their shot.
I.e. Kevin Knight later on in the show.
Right. So the point being was that you have to defeat the champion, or if it's proving ground rules in other promotions, you have to at least get to the time limit. You have to hang in there. When this was a 4-way eliminator match, implying that you could win the match by not pinning the champion, but that would get you a title shot. Yeah. Do you not see what's wrong with this?
Yeah, that's dumb as shit.
Yeah,
I think that's where I got confused because it was a fatal 4-way. I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. None of this makes sense to me.
No, and like it was whatever. It was fine, but like
you could have just had a regular fatal 4-way. You didn't need to have any like stip on it or anything. Just have a regular match.
Yeah, or like even just tack on like, hey, if Tony doesn't win the match, or whoever wins the match gets a shot.
If Tony gets pinned, they get the title shot. If not, then it's just, boom, it's simple. But hey, I get it, whatever. I don't get it, but
yeah, I think they booked themselves into a corner because there's a big old plot. Well, I would call it a plot hole or a fallacy or whatever. It just did not compute to me. Like the math was not mathing, so to speak. When I saw this announced, what that told me was, oh, Megan Bane's going to get involved. Lo and behold, Megan Bane runs in, and I think if we're not heading towards that rematch, it'll be some sort of multi-woman match for Double or Nothing.
Yeah, I can see that. Thunder
but
tits.
Otherwise, I mean, there's some cool stuff in here. Thunder Rosa, which I believe was Warriors-inspired gear.
I'll say that she's growing on me more and more every time I see her now.
Yeah, she's found her place again.
I honestly wasn't the biggest Thunder Rosa fan. Not that I didn't say I didn't like her. Just I just said really wasn't my cup of tea, so I just didn't watch her. And but now watching her, I'm like, yo, I should have paid more attention to her maybe.
I think what they've done here, because I mean, if you look at the names in this match, it's like I think what AEW's kind of lacked was like a women's mid card.
Yeah,
it was people contending for belts, and then kind of just, you know, I don't want to say like just jobbers, but just like, you know, people who are just kind of there.
Yeah.
Like people who are just kind of there. So
That's why
I
I
think
feel
there's
like
more of a defined space for the likes of Thunder Rosa or a Penelope Ford. And like I know they want Anna Jay in there. I don't quite see it with her yet, but
I think it's just for the Harley Cameron effect.
yeah, I was gonna say Harley Cameron easily belongs in that
Easily,
group. I would say,
like easily, 100%. Like she's won me over. You were you at the AEW when she was rapping? Were you there live?
was that like
It was I want to say it was around like November. It was like it might have been around the Thanksgiving ones maybe.
I was at
But
the Thanksgiving Dynamite
but
last year.
it wasn't last year though. It was like maybe like 2-ish years ago maybe. But
Yeah, I've been to all the Thanksgiving shows, so
okay.
I
I want to
probably
say
was.
it might have been a Thanksgiving one. I could be wrong, but it was a segment when she was with QTV still, and the Acclaimed was out there, and she was rapping, and you couldn't hear a thing. Like the crowd was booing her, like you couldn't hear a word. Like they wouldn't let her talk at all.
You know what? I think I was at that. Yeah,
And then she was trying to hit on Bowen.
yeah, I was there. Yep, yeah.
So, and now going from that to where she is now,
Mhm.
holy crap, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, and like you know she. Man, I forgot about that segment. That was actually really funny though.
It was a good like in live it was great. Like it was
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. You know, for what she might lack in the ring, you could at least tell that she's really busting her ass to get better,
Oh yeah.
and like she just belongs on TV. You know.
She's a great character overall, like a great person to have on
Yeah.
TV because like the puppet Monet thing, come on, hilarious.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough having a pretty good track record when AEW is around. The only ones off the top of my head, like in recent memory, that I wasn't around for was the Beach Break special last year, which had Bryan versus Pac and Hangman Jarrett. I just had like a ton of stuff going on, and then
I don't know if I went to that one either. I didn't because I didn't.
it was like around 4th of July.
I can't remember if I went to that one, and I didn't go to the Thanksgiving one last year either. My buddy
Yeah.
Josh goes to like all the Thanksgiving ones, so I just
Yeah.
missed it. I did. I had something going on too. I think I was working or something. I don't know.
That was a fun show, but it was a really long taping because
Yeah.
they did both. They did Dynamite and Collision that night.
Yeah, we also
And-
talked ourselves out of we're not going next week.
Oh, okay.
I said, you know what? Not.
The Thanksgiving show. I'll just say this: I don't know because like you can tape things in whatever order you want, hypothetically, right?
Yeah.
At the end of a taping that included Ring of Honor and a live Dynamite, they ran a they ran a Garcia Okada 20-minute draw at like 10:40 at night.
Yeah, that's what my buddy said. He said he left after Dynamite, and he was like, I was mad because they ran Garcia and Okada at the end.
Which is like cool, but I'm like, dude, at the very end of a night and you're doing a time limit draw, I was like very, very exhausting. I will say though, the Death Riders were like one section over from me. They were like doing that shot where they were like kind of like creeping, like in the crowd, kind of lurching. You don't realize how large of a human Claudio is until you're
You
like
see him.
yeah, dude, he's like I've seen him in the ring a bunch, but like when you're actually like next to him, he's like holy fuck, that is one large dude.
There was one Dynamite. Not to get too off topic, but there was one Dynamite we went to. We got like you were probably there too. It was at the Now, not the Now. It was at the Wintrust, and we got floor seats, and it was like when I forgot which one it was, but the Elite walked like right past us. Jack Perry dapped me up, you know, the
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, your boy, dude.
It's my boy, man. Come back soon, Jack.
Yeah. I mean, we're on a tangent, but quite honestly, we don't have as loaded of a show, so it's fine.
It's all wrestling related. See what
Yeah. But anyways, going back to this show. Yeah, so Tony Storm won anyways, and it's kind of unclear still who her challenger will be. But I'm
That's all
thinking,
I literally wrote down was Tony Storm won because I don't know anything else that happened in the match.
I mean, not much. There's some cool dives. There's a lot of run-ins. It was really overbooked because like Megan Bayne ran in, but then Harley Cameron came in with the lead pipe to chase her off, and that'll probably splinter off into something next week. They didn't announce too much. I think they're going to announce a bit more tomorrow night with the
Oh
live
yeah.
collision. That led into the Hurt Business MJF Top Flight segment, which I'm hot and cold on this as far as the execution because on paper, I think Top Flight are kind of like perfect bump guys for the Hurt Syndicate.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get tossed around.
Whether that'll happen now, though, because MJF did this whole.
You mean Wolverine? Because that's what I put. I said MJF out here trying to get the new part for Wolverine.
Maybe. Yeah, with the tire. It was very unlike him.
He came out in the wife beater, the mutton chops, poofed up hair. Yeah,
Yeah.
Wolverine.
There you go. But yeah, I mean,
I didn't really. I discussed this every time. I'm just. Can you guys just either shit or get off the pot with this point? Like, it's either. Maybe I'm just not interested in where it's going. Maybe that's my issue. Because what's the outcome? You know what I'm saying? Because later on, you see MJF again. So
yeah.
but I do. You know what I'm saying? So like, it looks like I don't know.
Let's stick on this matchup first, though.
It's fine because I have thoughts with the when we get to the other part with the MJF.
So they're doing some showing, not telling here as well because the crew were around, that being Leo Rush and Action Andretti. I mean, that has TV squash written all over it, but I'm here for it. I feel like they're starting to really drag this out to the point where I'm like, why? Or I'm just asking, why aren't these two wrestling?
Yeah.
It's getting a bit much. I'm not like fully out on the storyline or anything like that at this point. Just because, like you said, we just don't know what they're doing here with MJF, but it's like for every time they come out here and we don't get an answer, it's like you could have just done a TV squash. And like, as I've said on this show multiple times, that works for me. Like Shelton and Lashley just going out there and doing a 3-4 minute, just throwing around dudes. Like, yeah, I'm here for that. You know?
Yeah.
Like, why are we not doing that? Like, make them look like killers.
You did it for a couple weeks on TV, and then you stopped. You know,
It was great.
Yeah, that's what honestly like more TV needs. That you don't need to have like 15-minute bangers every match. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I digress.
Yeah. So, I mean, but then it comes to the point. Okay, well, if it is Top Flight, well, theoretically, they had like Dante Martin has a bigger issue with MJF because they never got to make their challenge, right?
Well, let me start off by saying this whole segment started off weird because it showed the crew first, then the Hurt Syndicate. Made no sense. I was so confused what was going on. Then Tony Schiavone announced that, or he brought up the crew because even me and my two buddies were sitting here like, hey, why is the crew out here? Then Top Flight comes out, and I'm like, my brain hurts. So,
I can't believe that the crew and Top Flight are still like kind of button heads because
this is the feud that never ends. This is Hangman Swerve.
Dude, like for the YouTube channel, as I was telling you off air, I'm watching a bunch of stuff in December. I'm trying to wrap this thing up, and I want to say it was the collision that aired on like December 14th. It was the one with Fletcher Briscoe and Okada Mortos, maybe. It was kind of a classic show.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was going to ask you to do the Continental Classic.
Yeah. I'm skimming through it, and there's a Top Flight versus crew match from damn near 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't blow this off yet? I guess not. But it just, yeah, this is all very weird. But if they announced Hurt Syndicate versus Top Flight for Dynamite next week, I would not be upset whatsoever.
Not at all.
So maybe there's
I'll
something
be a
there.
little upset that I wouldn't be there to see a massacre in person, but
Same. Because yeah, I'm out on the show as I've lamented.
it's okay, brother. I'm with you, brother. We'll be here together.
Yeah, which we'll have to figure out some production things because
we'll
with
figure
the
out.
whole 4 hour TV. But we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
as we
we'll
get
get
closer.
logistics of that later.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know where they're going with this. I like the idea of the match. I'm kind of with you on the whole. Let's set our course here and follow through with it because I would rather just see them wrestle than do this will they won't they with MJF at this point. Because now it does feel like it's detracting from the tag team champions, which you should never be doing that.
Yeah,
That being said, next was, oh man, part of me died a little bit because Ricochet and the Bucks are conversing before their match later into the night, which this was all fine. But they open the door to the Elite's locker room, and there lies the Death Riders.
I will say they look pretty badass when they open that door, though.
They sure did.
I was like, that was a good look for them on that one. That was cool.
Yeah,
but
I just on the channel. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just over this. The Bucks shouldn't be with them, but
yeah, I'm still bothered by it, and that's why I was like, damn. Like I posted on the channel Twitter the GIF of Obi-Wan saying it was foretold that you were going to destroy the Sith, not join them, because I think back to Mox walking out on that TV and just having a really vague statement saying this is not your company anymore, and how they use Jack Perry and the Bucks as a red herring to show that the Death Riders are a legitimate threat. And again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, and I should probably stop saying it because it's inevitable. But these two working together should never be a thing. They are diametric opposites, you know? And it bothers me from the booking point of view. But I will say this though, because did this go right into the match? No.
no.
Okay, stick a pin in that. We'll come back to it. Because Nick Wayne versus Rhino?
Hell yeah, brother, let's go.
We didn't get a gore though.
Yeah, we got a unprettier. Listen,
I'm cool with Rhino being on these shows because
they're in Detroit and like
and the ideas being thrown around too that they might bring him in for they announced the residency.
Yeah, they're doing
they're doing the ECW arena.
Yeah, 2600. I can't wait for that one, dude. They're doing Death Before Dishonor there too.
Yeah, that'll be really cool. I think they've been trying to get in there for a while, and
NXT beat them to it. I think by like a couple months.
If AEW can get in there, though, Deadlock's got to get in there, because I know they've been trying to get in there for even longer.
Yeah, I feel like they're next in line, for sure. But, like, did you see on social media the picture of Jeff Jarrett and the alpha male Monty Brown?
I sure did.
Can a guy get alpha male Monty Brown one time? Just once.
Is he, like, active?
I don't think he's wrestled in forever. But hey, I think like honestly, this is the first time that I could be wrong, but that he's probably been like seen. No, because he was on like a promo package for somebody. I want to say like on TNA or something. He did like a promo video for TNA or something like that. Like when they did like an anniversary show, he was on something, but that was the last time. But
I did see the residency though, and excuse, before we get to that, I did see the photo of him and Jarrett floating around, which I'm glad that they buried the hatchet.
He should have been TNA champion.
Oh yeah. As far as the residency goes, going back to me not knowing what the hell they're gonna do with All Out, because they are there for Labor Day weekend, and they're there the week after. However, there was no live collision that last week. Or there is a live collision, but it's on a Thursday and not a Saturday. That might imply you're looking at All Out on either the 13th or the 14th of September. Still not announced. I think they might announce it. If it's going to be at Now Arena, they're going to announce it on Wednesday. But for my sake, because I have a wedding to attend to on the 13th, I'm really hoping that if we get All Out again, that they reserve it for Sunday.
Yeah, it's not looking too hot though. Usually they announce it by now.
Yeah, I'm also thinking that they might just not skip Chicago on the pay-per-view calendar, but they might shuffle the deck how Double or Nothing isn't in
Yeah,
Vegas anymore. But that's neither here nor there. That's just, I'm wondering when the hell I'm going to go to a show again. But this match was strange just because I get that they want this belt on Nick Wayne for when he's in this tournament that starts, I believe, next week. And or maybe even this weekend.
it starts this weekend.
Yeah. It just feels strange to bring in Rhino for him to just not gore somebody and win.
Yeah, like you bring him in, you gotta get the gore.
Yeah.
Like that's the one thing.
Yeah, so this felt like a missed opportunity. I think they announced he will be there for I think they said all 3 shows, so might get one tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll probably see him again.
Next then was a Roosh promo, which was a pleasant surprise to see him because I feel like they wheel him out for a match and then you won't see him for 4 months.
Yeah. But he was on Collision. So
Yeah, and so this was a follow-up for that. They did the Fatal 4-Way for a bunch of money, which he did not win, and he swore to take out his frustrations on Kevin Knight, which we will find out later in the night if he was to make good on that. But just good seeing Roosh on my television at all times because he's awesome, and I wish he was used more by the company.
Same. I was happy to see him. I want also Beast Mortos on my TV more.
Yeah. Okay. Next was the party match between the Elite and Ricochet, or the Young Bucks and Ricochet, I should say. I mean, they might as well just be the Elite at this point. I think Ricochet fits in with them very well, both stylistically and like as a character. Against the team of Speedball Mike Bailey, Mark Briscoe, and Swerve Strickland. And they're keeping the momentum with these party matches being featured. I actually like this one a lot more than last week.
That was my first sentence. I said, yo, this match was a lot better than last week's. This match fucks.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. From a critical standpoint, I would say I think they missed their peak just a little bit. Like when they did, like I think it should have ended with the Froggy Bow and then they just went a couple more minutes.
Yeah, at the ending, but that swanton into the pop-up powerbomb on Bailey though from the Bucks, that was hard.
I thought both Mike Bailey and Ricochet were tremendous in this match.
Yeah, my notes here, I put Speedball as my second favorite wrestler currently in his company.
It's insane. Like I had genuine fatigue from Speedball and the Indies last year, and I could not be happier with how he started his AEW run. Man, he's been awesome. Like and it feels refreshed. Like it doesn't feel tired. Ricochet just continues his run of form. He's so committed to eating shit at all times. And it is perfect for this type of match, man. And again, as much as I've maligned the Bucks, if they're going to just do this all the time, I'm here for it. Like I can get on board with this.
I'm always down for a good Bucks PWG match. You know, I'm cool. Like this match was this probably was my match. Maybe this or something. Maybe.
I prefer the main event overall, but I'm not slighting this by any means. This was so much fun.
That's what I said. I think I'm gonna have to go with this one. I like the main, but I think this was probably my match just because it was so like adrenaline nonstop.
Oh yeah, and it was just like the right kind of what you'd want out of the character dynamics and just the timings of some of the sequences. I actually thought Swerve was like the 6 out of 6 in this match, which is surprising, but he also hasn't been wrestling very often, so that could have played into it as well. But my biggest takeaways from this match were just how good Ricochet and Speedball were, and I'm just thrilled, man. I figured Ricochet would work out better in AEW, but he's having like an incredible year so far.
My fear was when he came to AEW, he was just gonna get lost in the shuffle like everyone else did. But he actually stood out, and he found his own character. He found his groove, and he's actually coming into his own a lot better, a lot quicker than I thought he would. I love it. The Jadakiss laugh that he does, the the feud with Swerve, just kick it off, and then now this. Yeah, we're golden.
You know, because I was saying when I put a pin in it, how many of these people could realistically be in Anarchy in the Arena if you do leave Speedball and Ricochet out of it? I honestly wouldn't mind if they splintered off into their own feud.
Yeah, it looks like we might get another match before that with Speedball. What happens later on?
Oh yeah, which that actually might be the pay-per-view defense, honestly.
Yeah, and I am all with that.
Hmm. Yeah, but really good stuff here, man. Like I said, I think if you just reeled it in a little bit, but that's always just a matter of preference. I get though that the Bucks did have to kind of steal one,
Yeah.
just to get their heat back, but
And I thought Briscoe was going to take that pin. I was wrong.
no, they're really building this Swerve and Bucks, which I'm assuming it's going to be Hangman at the stadium at this point, but we'll see. Then this went into the Hater sit down interview to build to this tournament final, which I think I can appreciate what they're doing with this, because when you have one final that is face versus face, you do have to look at the other one and say, okay, we definitely need a defined heel here. Mercedes is that, and I think by having her just kind of shit can Jamie is a lot more effective than her cutting one of her promos.
Oh, yeah, because we've seen her cut those copy and paste promos week after week. We don't need that anymore.
Yeah, I'm again though really excited for the match. Like you don't have to really do much to get me on board with seeing these names on paper,
because they're gonna show out on a big stage. So
yeah, this match, it should be good. I don't think Jamie's had that like really standout match since coming back, and that's not necessarily on her. I believe she had visa issues earlier in the year, so it was like they brought her in for the Julia Hart feud, but then we lost her for like over a month. So I think even if she doesn't win, I think this is the match that she needs more than anything to be like, no, this is Jamie Hayter. This was the girl who was carrying this division in 2022. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, again, I'm here for it. This worked for me, but I really don't have much else to say on it.
it's good for me.
I do have one thing actually in my notes. Mercedes touched the trophy.
She did.
Which, more of my hockey superstitions, but you don't touch the trophy. When you only touch the trophy when you win it. So this is a reach, but maybe that could be some foreshadowing there.
Like a red herring kind of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the Will of Stat match was announced. Then we get to the Kevin Knight Okada match, which
we had the Osprey thing.
Yes, I did not take notes on this, and
I took a brief. I could just quickly gloss over what happened.
You can. I'm totally checked out on this.
Yeah, Osprey was in the back talking about next week's tag match, and then Wolverine interrupts, and then they're revisiting. It looks like we're going to revisit MJF and Osprey at some point, but why?
I don't know about you. I did not like their feud at all last year.
I didn't care for it at all. Like, I think I didn't care for it because I was already checked out of MJF being a face. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I was like, they forced it too much. And then when they put him heel again, I didn't care at that point. You know what I'm saying? I didn't care. I was like, whatever. I just want, just wrestle at this point. And then Will, at the time when he first got, like, he still isn't. He's not a good promo, unfortunately. Like, he can get the crowd hype, but yeah, I think they didn't really have a good match either. Like, that I can remember.
They had 2 matches last year.
The one at All In was better, right? If I remember,
the way I would word it is that I wasn't into the All In match, but it was like inoffensive to a degree.
okay.
I think I'm the wrong person to ask about the 59-minute match because I absolutely hated that match.
Yeah, okay. I remember
the TV match.
Yeah, that's the one I didn't like. The time limit one, right?
Well, it was like minutes away from the time limit. Look, there's then like only a handful of matches where I really felt like AEW was insulting my intelligence, and MJF happens to be in a couple of them. That was one of them. Not for me at all. And I just think these two bring the worst out of each other in the ring with their tendencies, and I'm just not here for a feud. What they're foreshadowing, though, is that this will be a world title program. And if Ospreay were to go on and beat Mox, which, again, this is what they're lining up here, and with the Hangman Swerve stuff is probably what's going to happen, his first defense would be Forbidden Door, but I've been seeing Zach pitched in that spot for the first defense, or maybe they don't. I don't know, but I do not want that in the world title picture. But again, that's one of those things where I gotta throw my arms up and just say it's not for me.
Yeah, as much as an Ospreay guy, I don't want that. Like, I didn't like that. Their styles don't mesh well to me.
No, because MJF tries to portray himself as like the traditional working heel, but when he's in the ring with somebody like Ospreay, MJF needs to prove he can do moves, and it's like, dude, we know you can do the moves. Like,
I just
come on.
remember Ospreay dropping him on his head.
But again, we got probably a long way till we get to that.
They're starting to just plant seeds now. We got a little bit to go before it grows. Yeah.
So then we get to the Kevin Knight Okada match, which Roosh did follow through. He made good, and he rushed Knight before the match started, putting him at a great disadvantage. I like that they upheld the Continental title rules in this Eliminator match, being that you can't have seconds. So when Speedball came to his aid, then the official said, "Hey, you gotta go.
You gotta get out of here."
Yeah, and match was fine. Knight had some good cutoffs. I mean, he's able to do that with his athleticism, but obviously the result was never really in doubt. I think the attack on him was more so to maybe write him off TV because for the tournament.
That's what I put down too. I said I was excited for this match until I wasn't because the Roosh thing, and then I put it's still okay match. But then I was like, oh wait, he's doing best of Super Juniors. This makes sense. But it looks like we're getting a Speedball Okada match at some point.
I would guess that's Double or Nothing because Okada, from what's been reported, he's actually on a part-time deal. So I would just assume that he'll be penciled in for the pay-per-view. This won't be a TV defense.
Oh yeah, he's probably gonna get that check,
He has like limited dates. You're gonna put him on. I mean, if you had Okada on your books, it's like you want him on the pay-per-view for the big matches and not like, you know what I mean?
Not some TV matches.
Yeah. That being said,
well, I got after that I got the Don Callis promo backstage talking about my dogs and the Outrunners, who are going to take on Roppongi Vice. Well, he said find 2 other people and they'll take on the Don Callis family,
which is heel Roppongi Vice. Fletcher was there, and Lance Archer?
Yes.
Is that going to be tomorrow?
It didn't say, I don't think.
Okay. I wonder who they would team with, but...
Yeah, I can't think of anything either. Like,
find out.
Like, what team is feuding with you know.
Yeah, I think Rocky and Takeshita were on Dontaku as Don Callis family. So I don't know if they're gonna have anybody come in for this or what, but interesting. A heel Roppongi Vice, I think that's probably the best usage of Trent at this point because he definitely feels lost in the shuffle.
I'm just happy to see him back.
Yeah, because I
I
mean
hope,
he's had all kind of injury issues.
I hope they get to use their same old theme song.
On RockyRomero.bandcamp.com. But it was the main event time after that. Yeah, this ruled. I don't think it was ever going to not rule, but your main event of the evening, Samoa Joe defeating Claudio Castagnoli. This was a build-up match to Samoa Joe's title challenge next week, and this is just my type of wrestling, man. A lot of just big lockups. Everything had just a ton of weight behind it. The brawling on the outside early in the match, where Joe was like teasing the Olay kick, but then Claudio cuts him off by just throwing him into the barricade. And these are both just very large people. So this was that's never a something just to brush off when they are doing these power spots. Steve Joe on the floor looked gnarly. My only complaint was that, and this is just, again, this is symptomatic of modern wrestling and more so modern TV wrestling. Claudio's heat segment was taking place entirely in the picture-in-picture.
Yeah, they do that quite frequently on
Yes.
certain. Yeah, I hate it.
But dude, he looked great in the heat segment. Like, it was really effective, some of the stuff he was doing. Like, and it wasn't just, like slowing it down or whatever. He did like that thing where he like propped himself up on the second rope and like shimmied to the middle and then dived off. And this was really awesome. I want to see, because I believe that the Max re-uploads, they just edit it to where it's streamlined, to where there's no picture-in-picture. It's just, because if you're watching overseas on Fight, you get the whole feed anyways. I want to rewatch this match when I can have the full experience without the commercial interruptions. But what I did get out of this was a whole lot. I love the finish of this, though, where Claudio's going for the swing. Joe grabs the tights real quick, gets on the Cohina clutch, and Claudio wastes no time. He taps right away. And that is how you put over a challenger.
Yeah, I said. In my notes, I put that was a pretty sweet counter, and he's done. Okay.
Yeah, no, he was out. Like, that was really well done, I thought, and just a hard hitting, smart, well executed match. And when you see these two names, I mean, it's hard to expect anything less. Aside from certain parts of the internet, which again, I should know better than to be paying attention, but Claudio has gotten a real unfair assessment, I think, by a lot of the AEW audience and even by a lot of media. Like, without naming names, one of the biggest, I should say, wrestling podcasts, like people who get paid salary to talk about this stuff, was essentially saying heading into the show that Claudio doesn't have a place in the company anymore. And a lot of people are saying he's washed because of how much they don't like the Death Rider stuff. But I don't know how you could watch what he contributed to this match and like actually genuinely believe that.
Like, any match he's in, period.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you don't like the Death Rider stuff, but you can't deny the guy's in-ring ability. Like,
Yeah,
dude, he's been going hard since like '04. Like,
yeah, just a model of consistency for 20 plus years. And it's just like, it's just weird to me that, again, people who get paid to watch these shows and talk about them would realistically believe that. So that was strange to me, and that's something I just kind of need to get off my chest. Claudio wrestling Adam Copeland's not, I don't think that's a good heat check,
Yeah, no. Give me this match again, Claudio versus Joe. Give me, I think Claudio. Hell, give me Claudio versus Hobbs.
That'd be sick.
Like, give
Or
me that
have
match.
him base for some high flyers again. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
everyone talks about how good of a base he is. So yeah, I still think he's a utility knife, and you could really put him anywhere. I just think for what they were using him for, I mean, because coming off a Continental Classic, he's always going to thrive in that environment. He's going to be one of your more reliable tournament wrestlers wherever you put him, right? But then when he's in this Death Riders run, we talked about how he did not really, they didn't defend those trios titles ever, so he wasn't doing any much tag work. So they would kind of put him out there as a heater and then like wrestling edge, and it's just like, yo, like maybe zoom out and look at the booking and look at the usage before you're saying that this guy shouldn't be on TV, because that's a huge stretch.
Yeah. I hate the internet.
Yeah. I should know better, man. I really got to stop going on it, but that's neither here nor there. Joe looking like a killer though, coming out of this, as he should. The way he handled this match, like he had that just signature balance of where he has that swagger, but he's also like the scariest dude on the planet at the same time. Yeah, and they revved him up for this title match. I am so excited for this, although, and this doesn't have to do with like attendance, being in attendance or anything. I think though that they're setting the wrong example here with the stipulation. Let me explain. The idea that you're doing the steel cage match to keep people out. We just had a cage match in AEW in March, and Mark Davis just walked right in. So who's to say that 10 people aren't going to be flying in and out of this
Well,
damn thing next week?
those 10 people better have the dump truck of Mark Davis. That's the only reason. But yeah, we know, like, wrestling trope, it's going to be a smile. Something's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still going to be dope.
Oh yeah, no question. I don't see that match being anything less than good. I'll be surprised. I mean, it's Joe and Mox. I mean, the floor on that is pretty high, I would say. Like something would have to go wrong. And hey, in the past things have gone wrong. I don't want the match to be bad by any means. I'm still gonna watch. I'm still very much looking forward to it. Show goes off the air though, with Joe being prepared for the run in. Mox doing his classic, I don't care if my guys die, I gotta look out for me in this case. I love that Hobbs is involved in this though, because I do think that they've needed something for him for a long time. And I'm trying to now draw the lines of like who's going to be in this Anarchy in the Arena and who's not. I've seen some shouts of Hook even turning if he's healthy to come back. But
Ew, don't do that.
yeah, I don't know about that, but who knows? But very strong close to the show, I thought, though. It made me excited for the title match, made me excited for
Well, I mean, like,
for the pay-per-view.
if you bring Hook, it makes sense. Or if Hook's in it, it makes sense to bring my boy back,
Yeah,
Jack. Because, I mean, they got a feud. It makes sense.
and that's what I'm like, if you take all those guys in consideration, you look at the party match from earlier in that, how many fucking people are going to be in this match, dude? Like, I know the first Anarchy in the Arena there was a lot of people. I think it was like 7-on-7,
Yeah,
for example.
COVID times, right?
No, it was
Okay.
in Vegas. It was the Punk Hangman headlined, and that Anarchy in the Arena, it was like JAS versus Blackpool Combat Club plus Eddie Kingston, Santana, and
That
Ortiz.
one. Yeah.
Where Eddie Kingston with the gas can.
Yeah, I remember that one now. Okay, yeah.
Damn, I'd love for him to be back in time for this, but
And I see he's rehabbing it, though, so hopefully he does good.
yeah, I just listened to him on there's a awesome podcast called Way of the Blade. One of the guys who's involved with that indie show, like it was like the Dean tribute show before the night before Double or Nothing.
Nice.
So they had Eddie on there to talk about it, but from what I can tell, he's just chilling and just trying to get better. So Eddie, I mean, we're wishing you well, man. But that was AEW Dynamite. Yeah, pretty good show, I'd say. I think only thing really holding it back from being like a great episode is that maybe it needed one more really good match to round things off. But I would say definitely worth going out of your way for the Bucks Ricochet versus Speedball, Briscoe and Swerve, and then the Joe Claudio main event for sure. I would highly recommend both of those.
Same here.
Only things announced for next week up to this point. Granted, we do have to get through the live collision taking place on Thursday the 8th. Is Jon Moxley defending the World Championship against Samoa Joe in the steel cage, as well as Will Ospreay and Hangman Page against Takeshita and Alexander. So they are stacking the deck. I want to see what that full card looks like, because pacing 4 hours of TV is going to be a challenge, I think.
Yes. I still haven't seen it say 4 hours yet on TV. So I'm like, is it, they're doing collision taping too?
Yes, okay. They have the block, and it's going to be an episode of Dynamite, an episode of Collision, with just like no overchange.
Oh, so it's all going to be all in one night?
Yeah.
Ah, gotcha.
Because I believe, so this is going to be the first of 3 or 4 of these they're doing, because I believe Stanley Cup playoffs to get that slot on Saturday.
Cool. Hey, I didn't know. I was like, and that's what I told my buddy Josh. I was like, yeah, it's going to be 4 hours. He goes, yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, so this is going to be the first one. And then we're going to have a little under a month before the next 2. This one is being branded as Beach Break. Then it's like Fighter Fest, and then Summer Blockbuster, which is, I believe, the first and second week of June.
And then Toyotathon. And
the Honda days are here, man. Yeah. But nothing announced for the pay-per-view tonight, though. Nothing added to that card. The night before, though, they are doing the Action Wrestling, Secunda Kaeda, and now All Elite Wrestling present Dean 2. The first match was announced, and the lineup's being rolled out because it is a 10-man Cybernetico. And the first 3 entrants include Gringo Loco, Dr. Cerebro, and Hologram.
Hell yeah, Gringo Loco. Shout out.
Yeah, those will be announced. I'll continue to talk about that show as we get closer to it, because I think if it's anything like last year's, it could steal the whole weekend. But outside of All Elite Wrestling, we do have a pay-per-view this weekend for the World Wrestling Federation, and I jokingly said before we went on the air, this is Backlash with a capital B, because man, does this feel like a B show.
B-.
You want to run through this card?
Very quickly, we can, yeah.
Right, because I don't have much for Go Home at all, because it did not feel like a Go Home.
It didn't feel like a Go Home. It just felt like a normal, regular Monday Night Raw. Nothing to write home about at all, to be honest.
Interesting talking point, though. We were all here expecting that Jey Uso would make his first defense against Logan Paul on this show. That appears to no longer be happening, which is a relief, but is also, I believe, they filmed a social media exclusive after Raw went off the air where he kind of ran in on him. So maybe they're going to do it on Netflix, or they're going to do it for Money in the Bank. But no world title match on the Raw side of things. But the 2 mid-card belts are up for grabs, with Dom defending against Penta. Fatal 4-way for the U.S. title, Fatu against LA Knight, Damian Priest, and Drew. That should be fun, you know?
Yeah, it should be a good party match.
Lyra defending against Becky Lynch. I'm here for it. I know we differ in our opinions on Lyra, but I think Becky's been building towards this Bayley feud, which I'm looking more ahead towards that. Funny thing on that, I'll elaborate on in a sec. The Gunther McAfee match is happening, unfortunately.
Nobody asked for that.
Nope. I do want to see Cena Orton, though. You know, we've seen how Cena won the title, but I'm more curious to see how he'll defend it, if that makes sense. Yeah. Because I don't think we're getting Travis, like I said, I don't think we're getting Travis Scott in the B show in the Midwest, you know?
Fucking bad. If I had to hear Fiend, I'm going to blow my brains out.
But I'll get to this at some point. I don't know if I'll check it out live. It depends on what I got going on at the house, because, like I said, like we both said, this is pretty low priority. Coming off of Mania 2, you don't want that. I just think that, I don't know if it was rushed or if they just didn't have their shit together, which despite the run of business they're on, WWE does not have their shit together by any means at the moment. But
Yeah, this one's gonna be a I'll catch when I can kind of vibe.
yeah, in the past, I said how like WWE doesn't know how to like handle like the fictional aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude, because fans know it's predetermined. But Becky was on like the Raw talk after the show, like just cutting this promo on Bayley, just cutting a heel promo, like run of the mill heel promo, and WWE people are like taking it like gospel, like that's how Becky Lynch, the person, actually feels about her, and I'm like, kayfabe is somehow both like it's never been more dead, but it's also but like people are like taking this as matter of fact. It's very strange.
Yeah, it's crazy. I read that, or I saw that interview too on Raw Talk. I saw a clip on Twitter or X
Yeah,
or whatever it's called now, and I just thought she was in character. I was like, all right, whatever. She's just doing a character bit.
people generally can't tell the difference. It's wild.
Yeah, I was like, I highly doubt. I could be wrong. Don't know these people personally, but I highly doubt her and Bayley got any kind of beef.
Yeah, no, this is all building towards either. I mean, they're running that brand new building where the Clippers play for Money in the Bank, so I think they're gonna want to stack the deck because that's not going to be a cheap ticket by any means. But you said you were watching some miscellaneous stuff as well.
Yeah, I checked out Lucha Fiesta with I just watched Hayabusa, the new Hayabusa
Mhm.
debut. Pretty impressed. I gotta see a couple more matches. I did see. I didn't see it. I did see a result that he did team up with our boy Tankman out in Japan.
Oh, that's
Uh,
cool.
it was a 6-man tag. It was him, Tankman. I forgot who the other one was against Tanaka and Masato Tanaka and two other people.
What other promotion was Tankman working?
I don't know. I saw it. I should have sent it to you, but I forgot which one it was.
It might have been 0-1.
Maybe, but it was a little still shot of Hayabusa, Tankman, and whoever their tag team partner was.
That's a crazy line. That's like blunt rotation status right there, man.
And then
But
I seen, what else did I watch? I watched all the Bullet Club cage match from New Japan. I know you said you haven't got around to that one yet.
no, there's some things on Dontaku I want to see. I know Tanahashi wrestled Zack for the last time, so I wanna go back for that. Um,
They do have a pay-per-view coming on Friday as well.
oh yeah, Resurgence in Ontario, California, which I believe I think the Good Brothers are coming back. So
Yeah, that's
whatever
it.
you do with that, what you may.
You're gonna get the Young Bucks and them against the Bullet Club. It's gonna be, that's what
It's the
everyone
War
wants.
Dogs. Yeah. Uh, the card for that is out. I know I want to. Oh, I want to see the Mercedes defense on that card.
Yeah, I want to see the three-way for the women, and I also want to see Ishii versus Drilla Maloney.
Oh, Goto's defending against. There's a Zach Goto rematch on
Yeah,
that. Yeah, yeah. This might be worth. This might be worth taking a look at. Templario's on the card, which is really cool. Yeah, Mercedes, Azumi, and Mina. That should be pretty good. When they did a similar format a couple years ago, when it was Mercedes, Azumi, and Hazuki in Japan, that was awesome. So yeah, I'll take a look at Resurgence. I'll try to get to that at some point. Uh, what do you think of the dog pound cage match thing? Because it was House of Torture versus Bullet Club, right?
yeah. I never know how to feel with a Japanese when New Japan does a cage match because they do it so different. It's just like a giant dog pound, obviously. Uh, I liked it actually. Japanese tables are still weird to me though. Like
Yeah,
they never break ever, you know.
they're very narrow and they're like way thicker than ours. I think they started to gimmick them though to a certain degree.
Yeah, a couple you could say. Well, one of them in this one did not break, so that one was not gimmicked for sure. Uh, but I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm gonna wait to hold. We could discuss it when you watch it because I want to get your thoughts on it too. Because I need to go back and watch the actual like more of the matches on that card too.
There was like a lot of stuff going on. So last week was Golden Week in Japan, where like the kids get off school, so they run like every Japanese promotion runs a show, and I foregoed all of it because I'm like really just trying to like put my head down. I'm at the finish line of this 2024 project I started like a year and a half ago, like with when like it was current for a while. Um, so I said I'm gonna just really try to get my shit done, and then when I'm caught up with 2024, then I can go hard on the current stuff. So I have a lot to catch up with. I heard the first night of the King of DDT tournament was awesome. So and then like Dragon Gate runs their Dead or Alive show. So there's a whole bunch of stuff I really need to catch up on. But so if I don't get to it right away, I will let you know. But other than that, the two DPW shows that were filmed in Japan at the end of April should air over the weekend.
Stoked for that one.
So next week, I think we can talk about those. So did you want to preview these cards real quick?
Yeah, we can run through them real quick, my brother.
Cool. So these take place from Shinjuku Face in Tokyo. Awesome, very intimate venue that I think will be perfect for Deadlock. Night one opening with some Choco Pro talent, being Best Bros, the team of Mei Saruga, who you may be familiar with from AEW, Emi Sakura also, and then Balyan Aki against the team of Hagane Shino, Miya Yotsuba, and Chie Koishikawa. Now, the only person on the other team I'm familiar with is Hagane Shino because he wrestled Kenny on a dark taping, I believe in like early 2023. But cool seeing like I'll always watch Mesa Rugo and Emi Sakura, so I'll give this one a shot.
Emmy's wrestled in DPW before, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so okay.
Yeah, so that makes sense that they're bringing them in. Next on that card, Adam Priest versus Shigehiro Irie. I mean, we're always now the world champion Adam Priest, but this doesn't have anything listed as far as title defense. But Irie, big dude, and I think you could see where that's going with, and I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot of heel chicanery from Priest as you would expect. So that should be a cool matchup. Now we're getting to the real good stuff on this card. Chris Brooks and Harashima from DDT taking on Calvin Tankman and LeBron Cozone. I absolutely cannot wait for this. Harashima is one of my favorite wrestlers. I think in his 50s, he's still one of the best wrestlers on the planet. Great on the mat, hits harder than hell. He's like that ace figure for DDT for so many years, and I think he'll be able to go on the mat with Cozone. He'll be able to get in that slugfest with Tankman. Brooks, I feel like you can plug and play wherever. So like this on paper, this looks really good.
Just you already know who I'm riding with. My dog Tanks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then ball game.
Whole lot of ass kicking on that team, man.
That's what I said. That's a whole hoss right there.
Yeah. Semi-main event. This should be really good as well. Violence is Forever against Astronauts, team of Fuminori Abe and Takuya Nomura. Again, this should just be just a total bomb fest. These two teams had a match in GCW early last year. Maybe it was JCW, which same difference, but
yeah,
like the Jersey J Cup last year that they faced off, and that was cool. I think on a show that isn't crammed tournament matches, this will have a lot more room to breathe, and you have just like a more fleshed out tag match. Very excited for that one. Violence is Forever on a hell of a run this year already. Although Kevin Koo posted today on his Twitter. He had his like knee wrapped up, so I hope he's okay.
Yeah, I seen that today when I got on there. So I was like, oh no.
Yeah, so hope Kevin Koo's doing well. Main event for night one, or at least on the cage match listing. Tokyo Joshi Pro's Rika Tatsumi is challenging Danny Luna for the Women's World Championship. Rika Tatsumi, I think, is in that class with Miyu Yamashita and Miyu Watanabe as far as like she's not doing a ton of the comedy stuff in TJPW. Like she can go in the ring. Like I think she's a lot more accessible if maybe you're not into that side of wrestling. So I think her and Danny Luna can potentially have a really good match. And I think DPW's done a really good job in 2025 in general of elevating that women's division. So I'm excited for that one too. Night two, similar layout. This one being 5 matches as well. A big old mixed tag to open. Violence is Forever, Miyuki Takase, and Ryo Mizunami against the Choco Pro team. Like I said, Best Bros, Emi Sakura, and then Chris Brooks teaming with them as well in the opener. Aside from me just not being that familiar with Balian Aki, I like everybody else listed there, so there's no reason why this should just be some harmless fun, you know? Then here's one I think you'll like a lot, so bear with me on this.
Sick.
Calvin Tankman's teaming with Kazuma Sumi against the team of Kazusada Higuchi and Yuki Yoshida. So it's Tankman and Higuchi on either side with 2 DDT rookies, essentially. Not rookies, but younger, up-and-comers. Higuchi is one of the hardest-hitting wrestlers in Japan. He has a sumo background. And there's just very few wrestlers like him. And I think him and Tankman clashing is like two wrecking balls colliding.
Yeah, you know me. If it's 2 just hard-hitting ass beaters,
dude,
I'm tuning in.
If that lives up to its potential, like you got something special there. Like Tankman's wrestling my 2 favorite wrestlers in DDT over these shows, so like I'm so here for all of it.
You said DDT just did a tournament?
Yeah, they're running their King of DDT annual. It's like I would say like equivalent to like New Japan Cup. It's like single elimination.
Okay, cool.
And I heard there's some real good stuff on there. Higuchi actually wrestled Shinya Aoki on the first night.
Check that out because I don't know.
Yeah,
I know DDT's known for mostly like for their comedy wrestling, but
yeah, it's definitely a variety promotion.
Yeah.
But you do have some names in there who are just tremendous wrestlers. The best way I can describe DDT, a lot of times I feel like your investment in the promotion as a whole depends on who has the belt, right?
Okay.
I wouldn't approach it as an out-and-out comedy promotion. I would just approach it as a promotion where literally anything can happen. And once I think you kind of find your guys, you know what I mean? And then you follow them.
Okay, cool.
So like Higuchi, Harashima, Aoki, for example, like if you check the card and you see them doing stuff, it's like, okay, I'm going to tap back in, so to speak. 3 matches to go, and then we can wrap it up. Shorter episode this week, but hey, we're due for one.
We're talking what we love.
Yeah. This should be really good. Fuminori Abe versus Adam Priest.
This is the one I know you were telling me you're excited for.
Very interesting here because he's a total ass kicker, but he also leans into a lot of shtick himself. So I think that there's going to be, like, I say this affectionately, like a lot of bullshit between the two, like in the entertainment sense. But when it comes down to business, these are 2 fantastic wrestlers, and I'm just excited to see what that singles match looks like. And then for the second time in 2 nights, Danny Luna is defending her women's world title again, which might actually spoil night 1's result by just like advertising that. So I don't know if that was an oversight.
That's what I was thinking too when I saw her name on there twice. I was like, is that a typo?
Yeah, that might be a little bit of a spoiler there, but I don't know if they would do any title changes against like guest talent.
Yeah.
especially with like I don't know what like visa situations are like with all these wrestlers, especially like in our current political climate now. Um, but she's defending against Rina Yamashita, who has a deathmatch background.
Yeah, it's kind of
So
weird. It's different.
yeah, so between Yamashita and Tatsumi, two very different defenses in a short amount of time. So good heat check for Danny Luna, a good chance for her to see what she can do with different wrestlers. And then main event, the other half of the astronauts, Takuya Nomura will be challenging LeBron Cozone for the national title. Um,
Ball game.
Ball game lariat against some of the hardest kicks and forearms going today with Nomura. So
Is he also from DDT or is he from?
no, so astronauts, I believe they're technically freelancers right now, but
Okay.
they came up through Big Japan.
Okay.
They came up through Big Japan, and they have appeared basically. They've appeared in DDT this year a couple of times actually, but uh,
I'm writing
I
all these
know.
down so that way I can check them out.
Oh yeah, I think you're gonna love astronauts, especially like just the way they throw their strikes. There's just so much speed and ferocity behind them. And I would even suggest going on your way for when they wrestle each other because they're just like outright punching each other in the face at times.
I'm sold.
Yeah, I'll send you some links.
All right,
I'll
my
get you
man.
I'll get you some resources on here.
My
But yeah,
man.
that is the cards for Deadlock Pro Wrestling's Spirit Rising Nights 1 and 2, which were filmed at on the 24th and 20th. So they went from Vegas to Japan, got a whole bunch of footage, and now are finally going to be able to see those this weekend. I'm really looking forward to these though. I think it's kind of like almost I guess like a side quest, so to speak. But when you take their kind of booking minds and the talent at their disposal, I think they put together some really cool cards here. So I'm looking forward to seeing them hopefully continue. Like I don't really see these shows being bad by any means, but so this would be a nice bit of momentum for them heading into their next show in Durham. So keep it locked in here for any deadlock discussion when we have the opportunity to, which is usually once a month. We're getting a little nice treat here with these two Japan shows.
I'm pumped for these shows because I get to see wrestlers I never usually get to watch. And
Yeah,
I love checking out new people all the time, especially for a company that I love. So I'm getting to see like people that I watch now go against people that outside of this. So I'm kind of stoked for that, just learning something new.
it's always an awesome part of being a wrestling fan. I think with the Forbidden Door stuff, there's been a lot of the bad faith, like, oh, I don't know how you don't know who any of these people are, but that's the point. It's the point is to find new stuff, and a huge part of being a wrestling fan, if you're not just watching the TV companies, is getting the opportunity to be introduced to all these different wrestlers and like not only current times but through years past, all these different eras, all these different scenes. It's one of my favorite parts of being a fan, so I'm glad that you'll get that experience with these shows, and hopefully the matches all live up to the hype that I'm giving them.
So far, they've been hitting them out the park. So I don't think, you know,
We're gonna figure out how we're gonna tackle the AEW television block, just because that's a lot to sit through to then come on here like around midnight and
oh yeah,
talk for a while. But expect AEW and Deadlock, maybe some Backlash. I don't really know.
if anything if anything of happen or anything that happens is important, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to put it. But anyways, I think that's all I got.
Good as gold, my friend. It was another good episode with you, my brother.
Yes, sir. It's always a joy to come on here and talk about our great sport. You could find us on socials at Outer Stavon and at The Loserweight. This has been the Underhook Show, and we will talk to you again next week.
See ya.